श्रीवत्सवंशकलशोदधिकौस्तुभस्य श्रीवासराघवगुरोस्तनयं ततश्च विद्या अवाप्य विबुधोत्तमतां दधानं कुर्वे सदा हृदि गुरुं करुणाकराख्यं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयां न मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुक्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये मातापिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रिवलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्महदाह्वय भट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. We were looking at Tondaradipudi Alvar. He was also called as Vipra Narayana. He was an Amsha of the Vanamala of Bhagavan. And his composition is also celebrated as Tirumalai, right? Now he was the Amsha of Vanamala. He was born in Jyeshtha Nakshatra in early Kali Yuga. He was a Yajurvedi. He was a great Bhakta. Bhagavan took him away from him a bit, distanced him a bit. He said, I will make him get worldly desires so that he comes even closer to me. That is what happened in his life as well. We saw about that in the previous lecture. Now today, we will look at what happened after the incident, after he realized, after Bhagavan played the Leela, after the king realized that the Alvar is not a culprit. They were suspecting him of stealing the wealth of Bhagavan. But by the grace of Bhagavan, they understood that there is divinity in him. And therefore, they apologized to him. So now, the Alvar is safe, but he is thinking, I went away from Bhagavan. And even though I went away from Bhagavan, the mind that was continuously thinking about Bhagavan started thinking about a woman. Who is she? She is a normal jiva. Instead of thinking about Paramatma, I took my mind away due to worldly desires. And still, Bhagavan himself has helped me. He himself has come in the form of a servant. He himself has served me. How could this happen? This shows that Bhagavan has such great qualities. Sometimes we cannot understand how great he is. We cannot understand his qualities properly. Many times we cannot understand. So Bhagavan has not just played a Leela. What need did he have to come and call himself as my servant? He was reciprocating to that bhakti which I was previously having. Such a great Bhagavan has reminded me about how I should be living. I had forgotten the path and had started moving away. Now I will return to him. Now I will return to the way I was before. In that manner, Tondaradipudi Alvar thinks. So he performs prayashchitta for his sin. Which sin? There are things that he has done. After forgetting Bhagavan, he kept association with Devadevi. That Devadevi also, she was pretending to be a human, that too an unchaste human lady. That is what she was pretending to be, correct? So he, at the end of the day, he did not understand that she was playing and therefore accept her, knowing her to be good or anything. despite seeing something that is supposed to be bad, he couldn't say no to it. That was a fault. So for that, for getting associated with Deva Devi, who was, as per his own knowledge, a sinner, he had to perform prayashchitta. So he performed prayashchitta. He also understood the teachings of the Alvars who had come before him. What had they taught? Their teachings were understood by him. Which kinds of teachings? Madhura Kavi Alvar had composed Kanninum Tirtanu. There, he sang the glory of Nammalvar. The glory of Nammalvar and the greatness of surrendering to one's Acharya. Understanding that the path towards understanding Sanatana Dharma. Today, there are many people who want to understand Sanatana Dharma. Some people want to pretend that they have understood. So what do? They go to the internet. They search for something, they find something, and they think, okay, I Googled, this is what I got. I have understood Sanatana Dharma. That is not the way, correct? There are people who have really understood Sanatana Dharma and lived by that. So Madhura Kavi Alvar showed the greatness of surrendering to Nammalvar. Nammalvar is not Bhagavan. Yet, Madhura Kavi Alvar surrendered to Nammalvar. We saw that story, right? Krishna says, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. But Madhura Kavi Alvar, what he performed was the Sharanagati to his Acharya, to Nammalvar, who was his preceptor. That surrender is celebrated at numerous places. It is celebrated in Bhagavatam, it is celebrated here in the story of the Alvars. It is celebrated at a lot of places. The Veda says you have to approach a guru. In Itihasas also we see that they approached gurus. And what the guru says, you do. What the guru says, you accept. There is no questioning. We are not here to, in the name of curiosity, keep nagging and going away from the path of Sanatana Dharma. What path is the guru showing? He says, this is Tattva. You accept that this is the Tattva. Then he says, this is Hita. You accept that this is Hita. Then he says, this is Purushartha. You accept that this is Purushartha. And with all of that, it does not end. You live your life that way. So the Tattva Hita Purusharthas are to be learned only from the Guru. This is the practice of Sanatana Dharma. Having glorified his Guru, Madhura Kavi Alvar felt that I am surrendering to my Guru and I am not going to require anything further. How can you not require anything further? We say Jiva is different from Paramatma. In Vishishtadvaitha, Jivatma is considered to be Bhagavat Sharira. It is different from Paramatma. Then, how can you say that it is okay to surrender to the Jivatma? Bhagavan accepts that surrender as well. If you surrender to your Acharya, he has surrendered to his Acharya. At some point of time, that will go to Ramanujacharya himself, who surrendered to Bhagavan. When Bhagavan accepted the surrender of Bhagavad Ramanuja, he also said, I will accept the surrender of everybody who surrenders to you. So in a kind of nested loop, continuously inside the parampara, the surrender is coming. Yet, the surrender that is done, Deshika talks about both. Does it mean that Bhagavad Sharanagati itself is wrong or something? No, not like that. He says both are there, both are valid. So when talking about the Guru Parampara Prabhava, Swami Deshika says both are valid. In fact, the way followed by Madhura Kavi Alvar is easier and more practical. That is all. It does not imply that only Acharya Sharanagati is correct or only Bhagavat Sharanagati is correct. If you do Sharanagati to your Acharya, you will realize that he himself is behaving as a person who has surrendered to Bhagavan. You will also surrender to Bhagavan. You will also behave in the same way. There is no conflict of interest there. Nammalvar, he had expressed intense bhakti. He had expressed intense bhakti and taught about Bhagavan. The pang of separation that you would have when you lose the sight of Bhagavan. You are seeing Bhagavan. Visually, you are visualizing Bhagavan. You are visualizing him. Suddenly, he goes away. Then there is separation. Then he comes back. This kind of an experience is described by Nammalvar in some of his verses. In the case of Tondaradipudi Alvar, he was behaving as a servant of Bhagavan. For some amount of time, he moved away. Now he is returning. Yet, with great bhakti, with the pure heart of a Sharanagata, you will always attain Bhagavan. He is always there for them. That is the teaching of Nammalvar. That was also understood by Tondaradipudi Alvar. Andal has composed Tirupavai. In that, she has taught the essence of the Vedas. The essence of the Vedas is also ultimately leading towards Bhagavan only. So, understanding that he is superior to Achit, this world, this body, all of that is Achit. He is different to it and is superior to it. He is different. Bhagavan is not my body, but he is much more superior to it. He is not the earth. He is superior to the earth. So, Bhagavan is different from Achit, but is superior to it. Thus, the wise one would go to Bhagavan. The wise person would not go towards Achit. So rather than going to bodily pleasure, I would go seek Bhagavan. Likewise, Bhagavan is different from and superior to the Chit also. How is he different? The Jiva has three types, right? Baddha, Nitya, Mukta. We have already seen. Even Nitya and Mukta are still the Sevakas of Bhagavan only. What about Baddha? That Baddha is bound by karma, punya and papa. So, no matter how you look at it, like, can I go focus on Baddha? No, there is no point. They themselves are bound by karma. How can they give the greatest benefit? They cannot. Nityas and Muktas are perfect. But what is their perfection showing? Their perfection is showing Bhagavat Seva. So, despite being perfect, their perfection is showing only Bhagavat Seva. That is what we need at the end of the day. Then there is, of course, Bhagavan himself. Bhagavan, Alagiya Manavalan, he pretended to be the Alvar's Shishya. The greatness of Bhagavan, how do we express it in words? Is it even possible? Hmm? He comes and he calls himself as my Shishya. And then he gives away some wealth, which is not really mine, but he says, I have been, Vipranarayana Swami has only sent all of these. Bhagavan is playing that game. So, We see something similar even in the case of Bhagavad Ramanuja. Bhagavan himself will play leelas once in a while. So Bhagavan often shows himself at a lower position than he is. Why? He comes down to our level just to take us back towards his level. If we by ourselves try to go to reach his level, we will not be able. But Bhagavan, he has the ability to come down to our level. He has the great quality. He comes down to our level and then takes us to him. That is the greatness of Bhagavan. So he understood it. So that is there. So he surrendered to Bhagavan. That surrender was a pure one, pure surrender. So what did Bhagavan do? Bhagavan also accepted the surrender. Bhagavan fully accepted the surrender and reciprocated. So it is through Bhagavan that he got the name Tondaradipodiyalvar. Now, because he understood everything and lived that way and surrendered to Bhagavan, he received the blessings from Bhagavan and the title Tondaradipodiyalvar by which he is known today. What about Deva Devi? What happened to that woman? She also realized everything. She realized that this is not the way to go ahead. She realized that the great Bhagavan is there on the side of Tondaradipodiyalvar. So she leaves all her belongings. She is living as a very wealthy woman, correct? She leaves all the wealth. Where does she keep the wealth? She surrenders all of the wealth to Bhagavan. She surrenders all of the wealth for Bhagavan. That is for performing Bhagavad Kainkarya. I myself am meant only to do seva to Bhagavan. Then what about all of my wealth? All of my wealth should also be used only for doing seva of Bhagavan. Therefore, she gave away all her wealth so that they could be used for Bhagavad Kainkarya. And she also performed prayashchitta for all of her wrongdoings. So, this we see that Bhagavan is there. He takes us on the right path. Sometimes we might go away, but Bhagavan will always try to pull us back. If we understand that he pulls us back, we will realize that this Bhagavan is the real target for everybody. We will realize that he is the person who we should attain. He is the person who we should think about. He is the person who we should speak about. He is the person who we should try to attain. We will understand all of that. We will understand how this world, which is full of chit and achit, right? This world, this materialistic world, it is not going to help us much. Deva Devi understood that her wealth is nothing. The Alvar, despite looking poor and living in a hut, he has a wealth. His wealth is Bhagavan himself. But I, despite living in such a big mansion with so much wealth and everything, I have nothing. Physical wealth is perishable. Maybe it will help me to be happy. What is this happiness? This is also an inferior level of happiness. Life will always come with some kind of sadness or the other. Eventually, I will leave this body. When I leave this body, the physical wealth is not going to travel along with me. It is not going to come with me to Swarga or Naraka. It is not going to come with me in the next life. What am I going to do with all of this wealth? It is perishable. Then in the next life also, how am I going to be? In the next life, however, I am going to get an experience that is going to depend on my past karma. It is not going to depend on how much money I earned. It is going to depend on how much punya I earned. So the real currencies are punya and papa. But these are also perishable currencies. The real currencies are punya and papa, but they are also perishable currencies. Is there any way to get anything infinite? With punya, I can buy happiness, but that happiness will last only as long as punya is there. Once that punya disappears, the happiness will also disappear. If only papa is left, then suffering will start coming to me. So I have to understand that punya and papa are the real currencies, not the currencies of the world. But even punya and papa are perishable currencies. I cannot buy eternal happiness with them. Is there any way by which you can get eternal happiness? Yes. If you sell yourself to Bhagavan, you will get eternal happiness. You admit that you are Bhagavan's property. You are there only to sing his glories. You are there only to perform seva to him. When you understand that you are Bhagavat Shesha, and when you start behaving like a dasa of Bhagavan, you perform surrender to him, then your karmas will be removed and you will attain the Paramapada, that is moksha. This is the concept. So this entire concept was understood by Devadevi as well. Therefore, she decided to leave all her belongings. She also performed prayaschitta for all the sins that she had committed earlier. She also had Sripada Tirtha, and she became a totally different person. Initially, she was pretending to be saintly. She was pretending to be saintly, and therefore she performed some seva to the Alvar. Correct? Now, she changed completely. She became a real servant of Bhagavan. Some teachings of the Alvar, let us see them also. So the Alvar has given a lot of teachings to us. He composed two works. One is called Tirumalai, one is called Tirupalliyazhi. So Tirumalai, as we saw, it is like a garland, right? Malai, the word, it refers to garland. Uttradipudi Alvar himself was the incarnation of Bhagavan's Vanamala. And he composed Tirumalai. How is this Tirumalai? This Tirumalai has 45 verses. It is not a very big work. Only 45 verses it has. But each verse of Tirumalai is like a fragrant flower. You take all the flowers and using all the flowers, you create a mala, you create a garland. So, Tondaradipudi Alvar, he composed a garland of verses which convey his bhakti for Bhagavan, his love for Bhagavan, how Bhagavan showed his greatness in various different ways, how Bhagavan showed his auspicious qualities in various different ways. So the Alvar at Sri Rangam, he had surrendered to Bhagavan, right? For him, what is real happiness? Celebrating the greatness of Bhagavan. That is what he has done. So, we see him saying in his song that despite knowing Bhagavan to be this great, Despite knowing Bhagavan to be this great, I had unfortunately gone away from. Ideally, Bhagavan is so great that you think about how he is. You think about the description. You visualize him and see. He is the Lord of even the Nitya Suris. Therefore, he is the Lord of all the Muktas. He is Lord of all the Devas. He is the Lord of all the Jivas below the Devas also. He is the Lord of everything. Yet, that great Bhagavan, who is the Lord of everybody, what did he do? He came and took birth and lived as Krishna. How did he live? He lived among the cowherds. The Lord of everybody came and lived among the cowherds. That shows the greatness of Bhagavan. It is not just that he is great, but he comes down to the level of other people so that his greatness can be further understood. When such a great Bhagavan is there to experience, why will we need any other kind of experience? What about this worldly wealth? Useless. What about some relationships and those kinds of wealth? They are also useless in front of that. What about committing punya and entering swarga, or performing jyotishtoma and entering swarga? No, no. Indraloka is also very inferior when compared to this anubhava. So I will definitely not want even Indraloka. Even at a time when I did not have much, I did not have land, I did not have wealth, I did not have relatives. Even at that point of time, when the possible distractions themselves were very less, what should I have done? Whatever was remaining, I should have thrown that away and immediately come and surrendered completely. Unfortunately, I did not do that. And therefore, I am crying, says the Alvar. The point is not that he is crying, not that there is going to be eternal suffering. The point is that he is crying out of love for Bhagavan, under the feeling that all this while I did not come to you. But when Alvar comes to Bhagavan now, Bhagavan accepts him. So he says, I should have been spending all my time in worshipping the divine feet of Bhagavan. I should have been spending my time in describing the auspicious qualities of Bhagavan. I should have been spending my time in thinking and contemplating on Bhagavan. I did not do any of that. When I could also, I did not do any of that. Then what is going to happen to me? Bhagavan has given the commands to us, what to follow in order to get moksha. They are very simple. But by refusing to follow what Bhagavan has taught us, what is happening? We get caught in samsara sagara. So, who is going to be there to protect us when big problems come? What is going to happen? Who will protect us? Who protects us during the life when there are big problems? Who protects us when the life itself is going to end? Who is going to protect us when the world itself is going to end? Who is going to protect us during the pralaya? There is only one person who remains totally unchanged. That person is Bhagavan. That person is Ranganatha. He is the one who can protect us even at that point of time. So, no matter how many sins you have done in the past, forget all of that. You think about Bhagavan. You start contemplating on him. You do focused bhakti with devotion, with surrender. You can still save yourself. So, there is nobody other than Bhagavan to look after me. Yet, I went in the other direction. What more stupid action could ever be done? It means Nobody should be stupid. We should be intelligent. What is intelligence? Intelligence is going towards Bhagavan and surrendering to him, seeking his divine feet. That is intelligence. Recently, I think just today, I was seeing somebody had written about the word Viveka. Viveka means intelligence, right? One uh, way to understand the word Viveka, the person had written the biggest form of wisdom, that is Viveka. It is acceptance. What is the acceptance? The acceptance is accepting that we are Bhagavad Dasas. Acceptance is to surrender. Acceptance is to surrender. We try to blame a lot. We try to pass on things, right? When something bad happens to me, what will I say? When some mosquito bites me, I will say, oh, this mosquito is causing so much trouble. Mosquito is biting me, yes, but why am I feeling the pain? Because I have done papa karma enough to feel that pain. The real reason is me only. The same thing as what Andal said, Nane Dana Ayuduga. That way. Whatever experience is happening to us happens because of us only. When we accept it, we will think how to come out of it. How do we come out of it? We will look ahead. We will see what problem is there. We will remove that problem. What is the problem? The problem is being bound by samsara. That has to be removed. How do you get it removed? Through that, through viveka. So once we start accepting, we will receive that viveka, that intelligence. With that intelligence, we will surrender to Bhagavan. We will surrender to Bhagavan. So once we receive true wisdom, we will truly surrender to Bhagavan. And through that surrender, we will attain moksha. So this is the teaching of Sanatana Dharma. This is the teaching of Vaishnava Dharma. The Alvar, if we see his works, two works, he teaches about how Bhagavan is very dear and is always there to bless us. He also teaches the procedures for prayashchitta. At the end of the day, we need prayashchitta even for living here, says Swami Deshika. Swami Deshika says, we should have been there in the state of moksha. We are not there, correct? Due to being bound by punya and papa that have been committed by ourselves, we are not there near Bhagavan. That itself should be considered to be something like a sin. Punya papa itself, including punya, you can consider it to be a sin because it has taken you away from Bhagavan. What should you do as the prayashchitta for that? The greatest prayashchitta, says Swami Deshika, is surrendering to Bhagavan. That one prayashchitta will always work. And there are many different ways to show surrender. Correct? There are many different ways to show surrender. One way is to perfectly follow everything. But how many people can perfectly follow? We might not be able to do it. But we should genuinely try to follow as much as possible. That is very much important. This incident, oh, it happened even in the life of the Alvar. Even Tondaradipudi Alvar forgot Bhagavan and went away. How can you expect me to continuously think about Bhagavan? I will also go in the wrong way. That is not the way to think. How should we understand the story of Tondaradipudi Alvar? We should not think that the Alvar went away. Alvar himself went away from the path of Bhagavan. Therefore, if I go against the path of Bhagavan, you should not question me. No, that is a very wrong way to think. If you think, oh, my past karma is only making me go away, that is also wrong. You forget the past. You think about now. What are you doing right now? Are you trying to show bhakti to Bhagavan and are you prevented from doing it? Are you going to the temple and being stopped on the way? Are you going to perform puja and suddenly realizing that the lamp is not burning? Are you trying something? Are you trying to recite something and then suddenly feeling that your throat is not working properly? What is the problem? Where is the problem? Are you attempting to attain Bhagavan and then facing the Papa, Prapti Virodhi Papa? Or are you not even attempting? That matters a lot. So there will always be people who give excuses. And giving excuse is easy, correct? Oh, Nammalvar was such a great person. Look at how Nammalvar had done dhyana, you tell. They will say, oh, Nammalvar was great by birth itself. By birth itself, he was great. He was a divine being. I can't be like him. What will these people say? They will say, I can't be like Nammalvar because Nammalvar was great by birth. From the time of birth, he was doing the dhyana. No, he did not speak. He did not do anything. He was continuously focused in meditating on Bhagavan. He was in that state. That only very great people can do. In fact, Nammalvar is literally a Nitya Surya, no? Great people like him, they will be able to do it. What about an ordinary person like me? Why are you giving me examples of such great people? Hmm? Rama came. Vishnu came as Rama, even before the days of the Alvar. What did they do? People said, oh, he is Vishnu, he will live that way. That is what people were saying before. Today, people are saying, oh, he was also an ordinary man. He has done this crime, he has done that crime. And then some other group comes and say, no, he has not committed any crime. I don't know how to defend this part in Ramayana. Therefore, I will say this part of Ramayana itself never happened. But these are not the paths to go by, right? What is the path to go? The path is to go to the Guru, surrender to the Guru, learn about Bhagavan, perform Sharanagati to Bhagavan, and then attain moksha. So, we have to understand that if you talk about Nammalvar, oh, Nammalvar was so perfect. What can we do? Rama was so perfect. Who can live so perfectly like Rama? You show me one person. Rama lived the perfect life only so that we learn what is perfect. Rama lived as the perfect man, right? Rama Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Why did he live that way? Only so that we learn that this is the way. It is possible to live that way. We should try it. There are 100 marks in an exam. There is no guarantee that I score 100 immediately if I attempt the exam. But I should try my best to score full marks. Those full marks were shown by Rama. So we should take the genuine attempt to get full marks. After we take, because of our past Papa Karma, if by chance we are unable to attain Bhagavan initially, that will be a problem. That will also be only initially. Eventually, Bhagavan will take us through. We will not forever be suffering. Yet, if we do not try at all, if we don't even take the attempt, then what will happen? Oh, the Alvar was not taking any attempt. You know, the Alvar was running behind a girl. Yet Bhagavan came and blessed him. Likewise, I will also do whatever I want. You know, that there is one group of people. They say, you should never go and seek a guru. At the appropriate time, guru will automatically come to you. You should never go seek Bhagavan. At the appropriate time, Bhagavan himself will come to you. What sort of nonsense is this? At the appropriate time, Bhagavan himself will show himself to you. What is that appropriate time? Bhagavan will show himself to you if you have done that much good karma, or if you have shown bhakti and sharanagati. Otherwise, Bhagavan is already everywhere, but we will not be able to realize him. So for us to understand Bhagavan, we have to go towards Bhagavan. We have to take the initiative. You can't cite a part of Tondaredipodi Alvar's life and then say, he went in the wrong direction, yet Bhagavan came for him. I am also going in the wrong direction. Let Bhagavan come for me. Whatever the Alvar did, I am imitating that. If somebody says, how should we respond? The Alvar, I'm saying this because these kinds of questions I have heard. It is so unfortunate. We should, even when we are trying to follow the Alvar, we should follow him only when he did the most appropriate things. The way he was performing seva initially from the garden, making garlands for Bhagavan, we should follow that. The way he lived his life after realizing his mistake, we should follow that. If we follow correctly the wrong path, that will be an intentional sin. We should remember that the Alvar did not go in the wrong path out of ego or out of some willing thing. He had also committed some mistake. He fell for the woman and stopped remembering Bhagavan. But after that, he performed prayaschitta for it. He performed prayaschitta for it and lived like a pure bhakta for the rest of his life. That is what we should also understand. We have also committed so many crimes. We should perform prayaschitta for it. No matter who we are, no matter who we are, there is prayaschitta. There is a question in Manusmriti. There is a verse which says, people of Varnas are equal and unequal. This is what the creator saw. How do you understand whether they are both equal and unequal? That sounds like a self-contradiction. In the commentary, Medatithi says, here we should understand carefully. Although people were divided into different varnas, different people showed different qualities. Sometimes people of different varnas showed great qualities that were similar to each other. Sometimes people of different varnas showed poor qualities that were similar to each other. At the end of the day, varna is not deciding your character. But if your character is good, then you should be respected. So, na jati balam ashritya jana mananiyaha, kintu gunaha mananiyaha. The qualities that you are expressing during your life, they are only going to define who you are. So, those gunas, how should those gunas be? They should be sattvika. How do we know that people are not automatically respectable by birth? Because there is prayashchitta vidhi mentioned in the scripture. So, no matter how you are born, there will be some prayashchitta if you have committed a crime. Is there anywhere in the scripture where it says, oh, if you are born in this way, then you can commit this crime? It will never say that way. No matter where you are born, which family you are born in, which gender you are born in, that doesn't matter. If you have committed a crime, there is prayashchitta. Likewise, there is a prayashchitta even for the devas. Even the devas, when they commit crimes, they do prayashchitta. So, we have to understand the wrongdoings of ourselves. We have to atone for the wrongdoings with a formal prayashchitta and surrender to Bhagavan. That is very important. The greatness of Shri Tirtha is taught by the Alvar. Shri Tirtha has the ability to remove any sin, even the sins that cannot be washed away by Ganga or the other holy rivers, whichever you name, Narmada, Godavari, Kaveri, whatever. Even the sins that are so huge that they cannot be washed away by holy river, they can be washed away by Shri Tirtha. That is the greatness of Shri Tirtha. Understanding it, we should surrender completely. Accepting, consuming Shri Tirtha is also a way of expressing surrender. That has to be understood by us. What about Tirupalli Elchi? What is taught in Tirupalli Elchi? About Tirumalai, we saw Tirumalai explains Bhagavan. It describes him. It describes Ranganatha also. If you take, for example, the 19th verse of Tirumalai, you will see that it is describing Ranganatha. Look at his color. He is of the color of the azure ocean. Look at how he is. He is reclining on Adishesha. Look at how he is reclining. Look at how his head is faced towards the east, but his eyes are facing towards the south to bless Vibhishana. Just looking at him, my body is melting. What else can I do when I understand him to be who he is? In this way, the Alvar feels. And we see that Tirupalli is the second composition composed by Tirumangai Alvar. Now, Tirupalli, it is trying to wake him, right? Educhi, waking him up. Like how there is this famous shloka in Ramayana. Kausalya Supraja Rama, Urva Sandhya Pravartate, Uttishta Narashardu, Kartavyam Daivam Ahnikam. In Ramayana, Rama is woken up by the Rishi. Bhagavan is not really sleeping. He is only in Yoga Nidra. Yet, there is a procedure of waking him up, putting him to sleep and so on. If he completely sleeps, then the universe itself will not exist. Yet, he behaves that way. He also behaves like a person who wakes up, who undergoes all sorts of things and then who goes to sleep. You see what happens in that temple, the Pushtimargi temple. There is one temple of Krishna, famous temple. What do they do there? They offer food to Bhagavan. They wake him up. They offer him food. He stays for some time. Then they put him back to sleep. Like a child that Krishna behaves. Krishna, when he was a child, he would have behaved that way. But Krishna came 5,000 years ago. And still in your temple, you are treating him in this way. Is it fine? No, it is absolutely fine. That is Bhakti Bhava. So, Tirupalli, it is trying to wake up Bhagavan. Bhagavan is in Yoga Nidra. The Alvar is trying to wake him up. And he is saying that you are the protector of all the worlds. You are the person who always cares for the world. So you should show kindness. Wake up and show your kindness and blessings to the devotees who are praying to you, to the devotees who are bound by samsara sagara. If you see Venkatesha Suprabhata begins with that shloka of Ramayana, Kausalya Supraja Rama. After that, what does it say? Uttishta Kamala Kanta Trailokyam Mangalam Guru. Wake up, O Kamala Kanta. Kamala referring to Mahalakshmi. Then it says, Trilokyam Mangalam Guru. Please give auspiciousness to all the three worlds. That is what is being prayed for here also. Please give auspiciousness. You are the protector of all the worlds. Protect us from our enemies. What kinds of enemies do we have? Some people had asuras as enemies. Some people had mortal enemies. So many people have their own bad qualities as enemies. We all have enemies, right? We have Rajoguna. We have Tamoguna. They are our enemies. So our bad qualities are also enemies. He should protect us from that. He should take us. He should be kind to us. Seeing that we are bound by samsara, bound by our karma, bound by Rajoguna and Tamoguna and are committing infinite sins every day. He should show his compassion. So, the Alvar describes the morning and then says, please wake up, please save us. In that way, it is a prayer to Bhagavan. So you can see even today, Tirupalli is recited in the Sri Vaishnava temples. So, Bhagavan is asked to wake up to bring auspiciousness, not as though he will not give auspiciousness otherwise. Oh, why should you wake him up? Will Bhagavan not save devotees if you don't wake him up? No, not like that. Even the act of waking him up is done out of bhakti only. It is a way to show bhakti. Whether we recite Tirupalli or not, whether we recite Suprabhata or not, Bhagavan knows which devotee to protect in which way. Bhagavan knows everything. These are ways of showing bhakti. These are not ways of, oh, he recited Tirupalli, therefore Bhagavan woke up. If we stop reciting, then Bhagavan himself will not wake up. What sort of powerless Bhagavan is he? Don't think in that way. It is a very wrong way to think about it. So the Alvar, he composed Tirumale, which is less than 4 dozen verses, but which is very beautiful, describes Bhagavan like the way a garland describes. It is very beautifully written. And then there is Tirupalli, which is recited in the mornings. With that, we will conclude today's class. If there is any question or doubt, please feel free to ask. There seems to be no question, so I will conclude the class. कविता कल्याण गुणशालिने श्रीमते वेंकटेशाय वेदांत